I'm working with some of the greatest minds in their fields who are also very creative and inventive themselves. I mean, it's a campus where 80% of the college is actually musicians. And that's from the faculty to the students. So obviously a great left brain, right brain partnership seems to be rife on campus.
Now, this particular piece of music, as I understand it, was inspired by a conference that you went to at Imperial College.
It was actually a conference at the Royal Society, the Origin of the Moon conference, and every one of the world's leading lunar scientists were present. I must say it was way above my head. I was Wikipedia and Googling maybe every paragraph. But I did meet the amazing Professor William Hartman, who is the original thinker behind the giant impact theory about how the moon and Earth were created simultaneously. And I didn't actually know that the chemical composition of the Earth and the moon were absolutely identical.
There is a view, and this is a theme in Tom Stoppard's play Jumpers, that man's arrival on the moon has made it less of a poetic source or an inspirational source for the arts because we know so much more about it.
Well, according to the Overview Institute, that was inspired by the first photographs of the Earth taken from space, they would suggest that that's an enduring source of inspiration because it makes us look at ourselves as a planetary species rather than nation states and divisions. To see that kind of pale blue dot floating through space and that we're in space as one living organism, that still is a source of inspiration. And now that NASA and other space institutes have been able to translate the frequency of planets, we can actually hear what that space sound sounds like.
You have a reputation for being a particularly eclectic musician, and I was wondering, how different is it working at Imperial College from a collaboration with Ms. Dynamite?
Well, you know, I wanted scientists to be my muse in this situation. My main link, actually, was one of my favourite composers from my teens was Ioannis Xenakis, a Greek polymath, who began to create music based upon something called stochastic probability, a form of maths. It turned out that most of the space physics uses the same mathematics. So I can look at Ioannis Xenakis' techniques, build upon that, to translate into sound the very space data that the scientists have come up with.
Now, the final section of your work is about the relationship between human beings and robots and artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
Do you ever fear that a musical composer like yourself will ever be overtaken by a robot?
I think the interesting thing about human behaviour at the moment is that our brain capacity is infinite, but we perform at a fraction of our potential. So it's going to be easier for smart robots to mimic the average behaviour of human beings. But I think it's time for humans to perhaps stop being average.
And that way we can outcompete the robots.
Absolutely, and I think the robots will be playing catch-up. As we begin to understand more about our consciousness and how it works, we'll be able to replicate that, to extend our abilities. So even if we can't be in space, we'll have robot avatars performing on our behalf.